Wrestling with wrestling's past and present.
How old were you?
I was -3.
JR is trying to contain Jim Ross.
McFlurry,
It's Mick Foley. Do you see any of the aggro crag? Was any of that left over?
No, unfortunately not.
No?
I'm taking some of that home.
Definitely not is the barn burner that Leaf Cassidy and Tiger thing was, but we'll leave that there.
We digress.
God, I hope that storyline ends soon.
And 6 to 8 weeks later, they mail you a freaking magnet.
Yep. You may know him as the Red Rooster.
Is it still real to me? Damn it!
He kept making out with his wife. It was weird. So then, I'm waiting for them to put the Selena Vega on a pole match.
And I mean, Big E's got Whale performing in his entrance, so I feel like
Wale.
Wale. I don't listen to. Okay, well, I don't listen to him, so I apologize to Wale.
This is in the mail, my good sir. No, it wasn't. Paul.
I feel like Vince is just gonna have them team together and be like, have them called Woo Bro. Like they're just gonna be the Woo Bros. Like, anyway.
Giving us a reason to come here and listen to ourselves talk.
Absolutely,
And then you can listen to us too.
Strap on and balls only on wrestling past and present.
This is Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior, and you're listening to Wrestling where wrestling's past and present.
This is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present. I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Pulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And today it is all about D-Generation X In Your House from 1997. And tonight we're gonna break it down! That's right, we're gonna break it down, as the song goes. This is this is the beginning of the Attitude Era, 1997 here, end of 97, going into 98. One of my favorite times, so we'll go back and watch WWE stuff. So without going into too much detail, I did enjoy this one. I know Mongo has a little bit of mixed feelings about this show, as we discussed off air, but I actually kind of enjoyed this one. I like this time period.
Yeah, I'm a mark for Shawn Michaels anyways, so anything Shawn Michaels DX related, Triple H related, is going to be right up my alley. And this is literally the beginning of the DX era. And it's very important because if this didn't happen, who knows what would have became of DX once Shawn Michaels left, Triple H took over. If Triple H, if they didn't have a team to essentially pass down, who knows what would have happened with Triple H.
No, and this is kind of what helped elevate him after the Madison Square Garden incident that has been talked about to death, and kind of helped elevate him get that singles push because Shawn kind of gave him the rub by helping and being the stable. And what Tim said earlier is, I think I had a more problem as we get into it is just the booking. I think that's the problem. It's just like some of the booking decisions from a storyline standpoint, from character standpoints. This was a phenomenal show, like Tim said. It's the Attitude Era. It's one of the best eras in wrestling, and there's some stuff that definitely won't fly today, like we always say, and there's some stuff that you probably wouldn't want to do today. But the storylines themselves, like Roland said, they're more long-term, they were more driven, they helped establish things, versus today where it's, some things are thrown together, on both companies. AEW's guilty of it, WWE's guilty of it. You need more stories that are told for a reason. You need to have more meaning behind things, and this pay-per-view established DX, like Roland said. And so for that, I definitely say it was worth watching.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, we'll get into it too. This is, early Kane and Undertaker storyline too. So there's a lot of, significant storylines that are, in the beginning phase at the time of this pay-per-view. There we go. We're cracking it open. Are we playing the Jack Tunney game this week?
I think we're going to play every time King said an inappropriate comment that we can remember, Roland has to take a drink.
Well, that's a good segue into our first match. Speaking of the King, his son, Brian Christopher, is going to take on Taka Michinoku. This is the singles match to determine the first ever light heavyweight championship. This was their supposed answer to the cruiserweight division in WCW. Obviously was not as successful as the cruiserweight division. But there was a tournament going on. This is the finals of the tournament. A couple of things here. Brian Christopher really dominated this match. Taka Michinoku really just pulled out the end with the Michinoku driver. A couple things. I'll just get to Taka real quick. I think it was a good decision to make Taka the first champ because of the international flavor. WCW had a lot of Mexican wrestlers in their cruiserweight division. So to kind of hard to balance that, they went with the international flavor. Obviously, Taka's from Japan, not Mexico, but kind of the same kind of realm there. But the only thing I kept thinking really throughout this match was Brian Christopher really could have been something. It's too bad what he had his personal issues, and obviously we lost him a couple of years ago. But I just remember he could have been something. He was really good in this match, and he could have been a top heel for a long time. Obviously, he had the run with Too Cool, which he's most known for. But he could have been special. I was really impressed with his work in this match. It's just too bad, that his personal life got in the way.
You say Too Cool? I did it for the Rock. Anyway,
too sexy,
right? It was interesting that later on in the show, the Road Dogg would actually do a worm, which I thought was kind of funny. But this match was probably the third best match on the card, in all honesty, and that's saying something with some of the names that you have on the card here that we'll get to in a little bit. But outside of the last two matches, I think this match might have been the third best match on the card, and they got plenty of time. I mean.
12 minutes.
Yeah, you can't. It was one of the longer matches on the card, actually, the third longest. And all right, so maybe this match was fourth because I forgot about the Triple H Slaughter. I actually kind of like that, but it definitely in the upper half of the card for me.
I was surprised that this was the open because this is when you had someone like Tim said, Taka Michinoku, who came from the Japanese wrestling, New Japan style, was world renowned over there, and who could go? And then you forget, like Roland said and Tim said, that Brian Christopher could go, because when I think of him, all I think of is Too Cool. All I think of is the whole, Jerry Lawler pretending not to be his dad. Like they did this match the whole entire time. They were focusing on that he wasn't his dad. You kind of forget that he was a good worker. I mean, obviously, having the King in your bloodline, all the wrestling that he's known for and how good he is, you pretty much have to have some sort of talent, at least in the ring. But he also had persona, so I was a little surprised that this match was better than I thought. And, I think that the right person went over, like Tim said, because it gives the international flavor like they did in WCW. It gives the strap to someone who can kind of give importance to it, because Taco is more known in other parts of the world and Brian Christopher is still kind of establishing himself. But so Roland, to make you drink your first one, did you remember what he said about Disney World? Because that was kind of that was kind of the first King joke that wouldn't fly. I'm like,
can't say that here.
I won't repeat it, but it was like, if you want to watch a joke that's super inappropriate, definitely check out this match, because I was like, wow, did he just say that?
Well, I was going to mention, too, that at one point JR even said that, well, it's because he's not my son. Like, later on in the show, we were talking about somebody, and JR, the King said something to JR about, like, whoever it was, and he's like, well, it's not like he's my son. So I thought that was pretty funny, but I'll take one for the King here.
Next up, we have a 6-man tag match. You have Los Boricuas, who came out doing their best R-Truth impression, singing their theme song. They're going to take on the Disciples of Apocalypse. JR still doesn't know the difference between 8-Ball and Skull or Chains or whatever. Chains was the long hair dude, right?
Chains was the Undertaker.
Yeah.
He can't tell Skull and 8-Ball apart to save
no.
No.
The match went 8 minutes. I mean, there's little shenanigans. Tim White, barred Savio Vega from ringside, which I was a little surprised that he didn't wrestle, because he's probably the most well-known of the Los Boricuas, but I don't know. It's kind of a little weird decision. Maybe he was injured or something. I don't know. But he bars him from ringside, but that he's going to come back. I believe it was Miguel Perez who feigned an injury throughout the match. He comes in at the end with the leg drop, and it was actually a pretty cool looking leg drop. And he gets the win over on Chains. The match was okay. It was better than I thought it would be. I think it's Rongo shaking his head. It obviously wasn't the best thing. I think, it's a total, second place match, or second, on the card match. But I was sort of entertained by this one. It wasn't like I said, it's better than expected for me.
Yeah, the Harris brothers, JR, just can't separate who's Ron and who's Don to this day, probably. But and then you have the Undertaker has Chains, so a little bit more star power, I think, on that team versus the Boricuas. But Yeah, it was interesting that Savio tried to get into the match. He was like, tag me, like when Perez was feigning an injury on the outside, and the referee actually he let him get tagged, and it was like, oh no, wait, you're not in this match. So it was interesting, but I don't feel as strongly as Tim does about this one. I think this one kind of sucked. It wasn't. I'm not going to say it was the worst thing in the world. Obviously, there's been worse, and there will be worse coming up with Goldust, or the artist formerly known as Goldust, and Luna Vachon here in a little bit. But I digress. It definitely fit the bill of a let me up match, I guess is the best way to describe it. And I will give Tim credit that finisher, that kind of somersaulting leg drop was a pretty neat finisher. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot in this match for me. I found this one as my check the phone, this might have been when I was sending Mongo some of the TikToks that I found. This was one of the matches that I was just like, yeah, cool. I actually had to rewind it to see how it ended because I just wasn't paying attention. And this is back, when you had, you had Crush and you had Savio. They used to be in the Nation. They split from the Nation. They formed their own, 4-man teams, stables, I guess you'll call it. So, I don't know. It wasn't. It was definitely, I think, the worst thing on the card besides the artist formerly known as Goldust coming out and reading a kid's story.
This was the number one turd burglar of the week. Like the Los Barucas, I was done with the storyline when we covered SummerSlam '97 when they're like Roland said, they're feuding with the Nation, but then it just stops. I remember it just stops, and then they suddenly are just feuding with DOA because DOA was kind of. But no one really wanted to see this. The crowd was dead during this entire match, and like you said, pretty much only popped for that like cool like flipping leg drop thing. But yeah, it was a boring match. This is what they call the popcorn match. Like you just kind of watch it, just sit there, munch on popcorn, not really care about it. It's definitely a skip for me. I'd give it a solid 2.
I remember what the JR to King line was when Miguel Perez was on the floor. The King asked JR, "Why don't you go check him like I checked on Brian Christopher?" And he's like, "Well, it's because it's not my kid." So that was the line. So
after that match, Roland alluded to it. We have Goldust come out. He's in a dog collar. Luna
the artist formerly known
as Goldust, and he decides to read Dr. Seuss, Green Eggs and Ham. This is real, folks. This actually happened on a pay-per-view. People actually paid to watch that segment. Let me take that back. They didn't pay to watch that segment, but it was something that they got what they paid, when they paid for it. So,
it came with the price of admission.
It came with the price of admission, yeah. And I'm like, so go. You have to watch it. You don't have to watch it, but we're not making this up. He's wearing this pink. I don't even know what it was.
It's like a nightgown. He had a thong on. It was weird. Like I saw way too much of his ass when they left.
So, okay, moving on. Okay, so this is for me the worst thing on their cards coming up. It's the Tough Man match.
Yeah, this is pretty bad too.
Between Butterbean and Marvelous Mark Merrow, and there's 4 rounds, 2-minute rounds. Of boxing, and I hate when they try to do boxing matches in WWE because they're always the same thing. There's always cheating involved. It's just the same thing over and over. It happened with Piper and Mr. T, I believe. It's happening here with Butterbean and Mark Merrow.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. And the whole storyline is Butterbean's trying to defend like Sable's honor because Mark Merrow treats Sable like crap. But yeah, I could have done without this.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. So I might have misspoke and said the DOA thing was the worst thing. This is pretty bad. Then the best part is you have a non-trained wrestler taking a shot from a wooden stool and he pops back up like he got hit with a fucking straw. Like they break the stool over him and he just pops back up and tries to fight Mark Merrow. And I will give Merrow credit though that first punch that knocked him out where Butterbean held him and then punched him, pretty fake, obviously. But I'll tell you what, that one that he went down on, he took a pretty good shot. I'll give him that. He let Butterbean hit him and he took a pretty good shot and went down. And obviously I know they were working. Don't come at me and be like, "Ooh, it's fake." Yeah, I'm aware. But this would be the beginning of what would become the Brawl for All. So this is where all that nonsense essentially started from. So we can thank Mark Merrow for the Brawl for All, apparently.
And Vince can thank Mark Merrow for Sable, because the whole promo when they were kind of alluding that Sable was taking his spotlight, weird how it really happened, because Mark Merrow, I'm sorry, his WWF run was absolute trash. He had a good WCW run, but his WWF run was just trash. And then, like Roland said, I'm not going to go too much more, but it's Butterbean. This is also a prelude to WrestleMania 15, when Bart Gunn, who got the pleasure after winning the Brawl for All, got the pleasure of brain damage from Butterbean after getting destroyed in 37 seconds at WrestleMania.
Well, that just shows you how fake it was, because if Butterbean was really throwing, I know Merrow is like a decorated boxer, but come on.
And there's times where he like you said, he feints a punch, and I'm glad he did, because obviously Butterbean's a trained boxer. Mm-hmm. Mark Merrow was semi-professional, but Butterbean had something like 75 something knockouts back then for a reason. He's a big dude. I don't want him punching me, because you know what? I don't want to wake up 20 years from going, I don't even know who I am anymore, because I got knocked the fucking next Tuesday by Butterbean. And it was just, it could have been done without, the Goldust segment was weird. This was weird. Just, this felt like what they would do on Raw to kind of have the comedy segment, not on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. That 100% sums up with it. This could have been a segment on Raw. Yep.
Next up is a tag team match for the WWF tag team titles. You have the New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, obviously getting a win by disqualification over the Legion of Doom in about 10.5 minutes. A lot of star power in this one. Two of the most well-known tag teams in history, especially the Attitude Era with the New Age Outlaws. This is early New Age Outlaws. They only had Road Dogg spelled with one G, if you notice that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, again, this was the one match when I was going over the card before this, before we went on the air. I honestly don't really remember too much about this. I know the end, Henry Godwin comes out with the slop bucket, and LOD ends up using it on Billy Gunn and gets the disqualification. But other than that, I don't really remember too much, which is sad, because there is a lot of star power in this one.
The thing I remember the most from this is Hawk cutting a promo about a fucking booger.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, what a booger!
That's what I remember the most, and it's funny too, because they were talking as if Hawk and Animal were dinosaurs, right? Well, Hawk's 39 and Animal's 37 at this time, and ironically enough, we have a guy in this match that's still wrestling today on primetime TV for AEW, who is not 37 or 39. He is 58. So anyhow, I just thought that was ironic that they were talking about dinosaurs and stuff. And there's Billy Gunn still getting his primetime slot from Tony Khan, which that's a whole other story for a whole other time. I think that's such a waste. They have so many talents that could use that spot. And then they're like, it'd be one thing if they were using it to elevate his kids. Billy doesn't need to be in these matches. He just doesn't. And he can do the Sting spot from the outside, get in, kind of interfere or whatever. But I know it's kind of went off the rails for Billy Gunn being on TV in 2021, but I just thought it was ironic they were talking about LOD being dinosaurs, and here's 58-year-old Billy Gunn on Dynamite and Rampage the last 2 weeks wrestling.
Well, it's kind of like that, in sports too, there's nothing more, kick to your ego than when you're watching, football or something like that. Or even, this match when they're like, wow, he's really old. He's 34. And you're like, oh, wait, I'm 35. Son of a bitch. You're like, that's considered old. And like Roland said, it's not like this was like a 60-year-old Hawk and Animal, trying to go. They were still in their prime. And Roland's on mute, so
first time in a while. It wasn't like it was 49-year-old Sergeant Slaughter. Oh wait,
yeah.
Right. Who Sergeant Slaughter loved him to death, but I won't. Dude didn't look for it. Dude looked like he's 60 since 1991.
But yeah, the equivalent of Arn Anderson.
The reason why, Tim, I don't think you remember much from this match is because there really wasn't much in this match. It was basically Road Dogg on offense almost the entire time. And then, like you said, when the Godwins came out with a bucket, and then it was the back-to-back disqualification. So you went from the Butterbean shit show disqualification to a match that could have been good, but this is where my problems start with the booking. It's like, you couldn't have had a clean finish. It's like you didn't have to protect the LOD. Like they're the LOD, they can take a loss. You were obviously trying to build the new Age Outlaws to eventually go with DX. Like the seeds were planted. It's just the booking didn't make sense, and the match was just kind of there. It's like it had potential, and I think that's what disappointed me. Is this match had such potential? Because like Tim said, we were hopeful this would be a good match when we first were talking about it.
Would it have killed them to let Godwin hit him with a bucket and actually like get Billy Gunn to roll him up? Would that have really like? I mean, honestly, and then they win by pinfall and they can continue the storyline for next week. Like,
yep.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of alluded to it. Next up, we have 49-year-old Sergeant Slaughter taking on Triple H in a boot camp match. I wasn't sure how this one was going to go when I read this on paper. I don't know. I'm kind of a mark for legends coming back and having a match and stuff like that. Like, when I was a kid growing up, every time I saw Jerry Lawler wrestle on Raw, I got really excited when he would do that. I like that kind of stuff. I don't know. Call me a mark, whatever. Well, whatever. But I didn't know how this was going to go. I was actually really impressed with this match. I thought Sergeant Slaughter more than held his own with Triple H, who's a lot younger than him at this point. Sergeant Slaughter went almost 18 minutes with Triple H in a boot camp match. I think it was perfect to have that stipulation so Slaughter could hold his own. It wasn't a straight up wrestling match. So I was really impressed with this. I thought it was funny that JR said, back in the day, Sergeant Slaughter was 310, and I would guess he's a little bit heavier than that now. So that was funny. But yeah, I mean, he was taking moves off the top rope and stuff like that. So I was really impressed with this. You had the shenanigans with China getting involved. Hits to low blow. Triple H does the pedigree on the chair for the 1, 2, 3, but right guy went over, obviously, because you're trying to, Triple H is from one King of the Ring, so you don't want to, you can't lose to Sergeant Slaughter here. But I was impressed with Sarge in this match.
I think one of Sarge's testicles is still flying through orbit right now.
Yeah, that was a sound.
China, I mean, I know China probably more or less kicked him in the ass. I get it, but like she didn't hold anything back. She definitely, you could tell she was shooting, and she didn't know any better at that point either. She was very green. But yeah, I definitely like the. I do like the powder spot, the signature powder spot with Sarge throwing the powder in China's face. It was definitely, like I said, this was probably the third best match. I think, like I said, Brian Christopher and Taka was fourth. These ones were really close for me, but yeah, I definitely shout out to Sergeant Slaughter for more than holding the zone against Triple H.
So I think I'm going to disagree. This match was boring to me. It was just, it was fun. It had its moments, but I just feel like it was too long and it kind of was dragged out. So I think maybe that was my problem with it. It was just, I think it could have been 10 minutes and probably still had the same effect. Because one of the things I remember more from the match itself was when the King basically kind of alluded to Ric Flair when he called DX the dirtiest players in the game. I don't know if you guys picked up on that little one-liner he said. But I will give Sergeant Slaughter credit. First of all, Hall of Famer for a reason. Some of the bumps he was taking, I was surprised for, knowing his back injuries and his knee injuries. And, he wasn't in the best of shape. No offense, Sarge. And, but he was taking moves that I didn't think he would. I thought it was just going to be more like the Bret Hart WrestleMania with Vince McMahon, where he just kind of like stood around and beat the shit out of Vince McMahon and actually take a bump. But I was surprised he took bumps. It was, halfway decent. It was just boring to me. I don't know. It wasn't really a match that was too interesting to me, but the storyline was there. Like Roland said, you have to elevate Triple H. Like you can't have Sergeant Slaughter come in and just kill any of his momentum.
That was Tim's point. I'm not going to take credit for that one. That one was Tim's point.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Talking about the King of the Ring and stuff. That was not me. That was Tim.
Before we move on, I do want to make a point though. How many friggin' superstars came out to Kurt Angle's music before Kurt Angle did?
A lot, apparently. Because you got the Patriot.
The Patriot. There was
and then Slaughter this pay-per-view.
Slaughter did. There was a Survivor Series team that came out to it.
Yep.
Didn't the Stooges come out to it at one point? No, they came out to Real American.
They came out to Real American. I don't know. I was like, every time, like, that you'd think it's Kurt Angle coming out there. All right. Next up is a singles match between the returning Jeff Jarrett and the Undertaker. The match goes 7 minutes. Jeff Jarrett gets the win by disqualification. This really wasn't that much of a match. It was served its purpose, though. It was to further the storyline between Kane and The Undertaker. If you remember, Kane debuted at Bad Blood.
That's gotta be Kane.
That's gotta be Kane. So, he comes out with Paul Bearer at the end, chokeslams Jeff Jarrett. So Jeff Jarrett technically gets the win by disqualification. So another DQ finish that Mongo loves. But I think this match, like I said, it wasn't much of a match, but the purpose was to further the storyline between Kane and The Undertaker.
Now, for those of you at home keeping track, that's a win for JEFF-JARRETT.
Who, according to his theme song, is the world's greatest wrestler.
Yeah, ain't he great? But yeah, no. That was one of the things I took away. Is this is back when Jarrett was flip flopping between companies. Like every November, he was like, "Oh, Jarrett's leaving. Oh, Jarrett's back. Oh, Jarrett's gone." And this is one of the times where he flip flopped, and it was his first appearance back. Like Tim said, it served its purpose. It furthered the Kane, the Undertaker not wanting to touch Kane. Kane actually slapped him at one point and then set his pyro off. So that was pretty cool. It was cool to see Tim White and Paul Bearer kind of interact, like almost like after it was right after the chokeslam to Jarrett, like Tim White and Paul Bearer were talking, and it was almost like Tim White was like, "What the fuck was that?" And Paul Bearer's like, the way they were talking, it was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely way more about Kane and the Undertaker than it was Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, and I think that this is kind of where, when I kind of was texting you a little bit earlier, like this is when I started my problems with the booking and everything. I'm like, it's disqualification number 3 at this point, and it's interference number 3,500 in a match. So I think that's what it was almost like the same ending to every match, the same gaga for most of these matches. So it was hard because, again, another match that had good potential. Jeff Jarrett can go, Undertaker, this is in his prime. This was, the Dark Prince persona, which is probably his most underrated persona for a while. Everybody always kind of talks about his, first version of the Undertaker and the American Badass, but to me, this was it. This is right before the Ministry of Darkness, like 2 years before, before 8-Ball and Skull went over there too, JR, if you couldn't tell at one point. But yeah, I just think it was just kind of there for me because, like you said, it was just more there to set up the storyline between Kane and Undertaker than anything else.
Next up is the singles match for the Intercontinental Championship between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. You may have heard of those guys.
In case you don't know, The Rock is this megastar named Dwayne Johnson.
Yes.
Anyways.
Sounds familiar.
So this is early Rock. Like, he's still kind of going by Rocky Maivia here. They're kind of going back and forth between the two names. But he stole Stone Cold Steve Austin's championship belt. And Stone Cold Steve Austin wants it back. So this is the match. So this was all right. It was a lot of gaga with the nation out there. There's the truck that Stone Cold brought to the ring. I just wish this match was longer. I mean, you have these two stars, but you have to realize that this is early Stone Cold, early Rock. They haven't really taken their feud to the next level yet. So this is kind of the beginnings of it. But you still have these two really charismatic personalities. Like, you gotta give them more than 5 minutes, I think. That was my only gripe with this one.
Yeah, at one point, JR is like, Stone Cold hasn't even taken his damn vest off yet. It's like, yeah, no kidding. Like, that's it. It seemed like they felt like they were like low on time. So it seemed like this was very rushed, like super rushed.
This was a long pay-per-view for an In Your House. I mean, this was almost 3 hours long.
That's what I mean. It feels like this match was super rushed. Like Tim said, it was like, and there was 5 guys out there, and it took like 5 minutes of time. So,
well, the problem is too, this is also, only 4 months removed from his neck injury. So I think a lot of the time had to do because he was still recovering. They were trying to protect him. But like you said, it was just full of gaga, like Tim was alluding to earlier, and just it's 2 Hall of Famers, and heel Rock. This was when Rock was, getting the really mega heel heat. Rocky sucks chant across the arena. This is teasing what's to come with Stone Cold and The Rock. The WrestleMania trilogy, the best trilogy of matches any superstars or any wrestlers have ever had, probably will ever have. You can at me if you want. I won't argue with you. And I just think that, like you both said, I wish it had more time. I understand why, because of his neck, but you give fucking Butterbean and Mark Marrow 10 minutes. You can't give Stone Cold 10 minutes. Like, are you kidding me?
They gave the friggin' for a week was, what did they give them? Like 8 minutes. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the shortest match on the card of
Yep.
of everybody.
Yeah, I mean the Jarrett thing was just under 7 minutes. This is 7.5. So yeah.
Yeah. So we get to our main event. It is a singles match for the WWF Championship. Shawn Michaels is the champion. He's going to take on Ken Shamrock here. It goes about 18 and a half minutes. So I really did not have that much expectations for this one. I'm not the biggest Ken Shamrock fan. But he held his own in this one. I was impressed. Like, he really could go. And I will say this, Shawn Michaels really made him look good. He sold extremely well in this match. That's one of the takeaways I got from it. So I was pleasantly surprised by this because I really didn't have any expectations. I was disappointed by the finish. It was a DQ finish. Like, your main event for a title, at least have a pinfall or a submission finish. Make the crowd go home happy, satisfied. Like, I feel like you're paying money for a pay-per-view, and that's what you leave them with. So it's a little disappointing because the match was good, and I think it took away from the match. So I was pleasantly surprised by Ken Shamrock's performance, but really disappointed with the finish.
It may have been Ken Shamrock's best match ever. Like
It could
was
have
a
been.
very good match. And like you said, Shawn Michaels had a lot to do with that. But yeah, I mean, like Mongo's been saying, how many times can you have a DQ finish by the time the show goes home and the fans are like, we literally just paid X amount, we paid this dollar amount and we had 3 clean finishes on the whole card.
And again, it's like Tim and you both just said, and Tim's thoughts on this match are kind of how my thoughts were on most of the matches. These matches were good. Some of these matches had such potential with interference and a DQ. So this is 4. There's 8 matches on this card, and this is 4. The 4th DQ finish. That's half your card. Like, that's okay on a Raw when you have 2 hours to fill back in the day and you had some matches you quickly threw together, but you're going to give them 20 minutes, and like Tim said, not even have Shawn Michaels go over Shamrock clean. That doesn't make sense. And it's not like they were protecting Shamrock, because this was kind of the weird phase. Like, Shamrock had that like roller coaster of a career. Like, he got a push. It was getting into like the IC title picture. Then he randomly got into this picture and then right back down. IC title picture. You thought he was going somewhere, right back down. Like, he just, and then
that's because he came unreliable. Like, if you listen to what JR said in his book, like there were times where he would just no show. And the WWE just couldn't rely on a guy to headline a show if he wasn't going to fucking be there.
Right, and he cared more about his UFC career and beating the shit out of Tito Ortiz than he did being a WWE. But then he redeemed himself, because then his TNA run, like, holy crap, like, he became a Hall of Famer over there. And he's still to this day has worked some impacts, and he's still in phenomenal shape. So,
mind you, he's got to be pushing 60 by now. I would think he's got to be. I mean, like you said, having a run as early or as most recent as like a year ago. So,
and it's just incredible. And his belly suplexes, I want to comment. Look, I know it's Shawn Michaels doing more of the work and selling, but they look devastating. Like when you see Brock Lesnar and they do the Suplex City, Ken Shamrock was kind of like the Suplex City before Brock Lesnar was, where he would just throw him around the ring. And that was the other thing. It's like, that would have been a cool, like, even non-finish, right? I liked how he belly backed him, and he put him like the ankle lock, and you thought Shawn was in trouble with it, but here comes Triple H China again to like cause havoc. And then that's just what kind of took away from this match was the writing and finish. I don't know what was going on. If they were, I know it was supposed to push DX and they're being kind of sleazy and they're doing what they want, but I just don't understand why every single, especially almost every title match, was pretty much a disqualification. No one could go over clean. That doesn't make sense. I understand the Butterbean match. You have to have a disqualification because it was a terrible gimmick match. But so if I had to rate this pay-per-view, I'm honestly thinking a 4, and that's being generous.
Shamrock is 57 right now, by the way. So I looked that up while we were doing that. But yeah, so I mean, he was mid to late 50s having his last run in TNA. That says something. Right. This is I think if you add the whole card up, thankfully there was some good stuff on here. I'm going to rate it a little bit higher. I'm going to say it's probably a 4.5, 5. Like it's definitely in the upper end of the lower tier shows, if that makes any sense. It's just, that's just where it fell for me. 5.5, 4.5, 5. Yeah, it could have done away with some of the Gaga, and like Mongo said, if you're going to have half your matches end in a DQ, like, what do you expect?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit higher than that, actually. And I don't know if it's just my fandom and love of this era. Yeah, I agree that the booking and the finishes weren't that great, but just entertainment wise, I was really entertained by this pay per view. I mean, I was really entertained by the Sergeant Slaughter Triple H match, and then the last two, you had Stone Cold and The Rock and Ken Shamrock, Shawn Michaels. I thought were entertaining, and especially the main event was a good match. So I'm going to give this a 6. I think. I really. I don't know. I have a little bit different feeling than you guys do about it. I definitely like this one a lot. And, if I had to recommend a match, definitely the main event, even though the finish was disappointing.
I finished a whole tall boy during this 30 minutes of us talking.
Yeah, this is what we classify as a Linda episode.
Yes. we are obligated to mention my mother at least once an episode. So
yes.
There's your mention. And yes, this is an episode that she will enjoy because it's going to be under 35 minutes by the time we're done. Thereabouts.
So that wraps up D-Generation X In Your House 97. Next week, we're going back. It's our last pay-per-view of 2005 to cover for TNA. Somebody help me with the name of the pay-per-view.
I'm going to say Genesis without looking. I don't.
No, we already did Genesis.
It's Turning Point, I believe.
Thank you.
Turning Point. All right. We are so prepared for this on the show.
Hey, to be fair, I know what the next one is.
You will never find 3 more prepared people than us. That's totally a lie. So TNA Turning Point, we think it's some TNA show in December of 05. So that's coming up for you next week. The week after that, we're doing Armageddon 2002. Roland's gonna be really excited about that one. It's Triple H and Shawn Michaels 3 Stages of Hell match. Looking forward to watching that. So that's coming up the next couple of weeks. So definitely looking forward to those episodes. And we recently celebrated our 2-year anniversary. So thank you guys for the support and listening. And continue to do so. Continue to spread the word for us.
Yeah, we couldn't do this without you guys. Again, thank you for everybody that's listened, that's helped get somebody else to listen, that communicates with us through our social medias and stuff like that. I know there's a select few of you that, comment more often than not. We really appreciate that. Hopefully it'll turn into, more people down the road, but we definitely appreciate everybody's input and everybody following. And we definitely would not be where we're at if it weren't for you guys. So again, thank you so much.
No, absolutely. Echo your sentiments the same. We appreciate, all the interaction on socials, the follows, the downloads. I mean, we're really close. So please spread the word, guys. We're really close to hitting our goal. We have a goal of 2,500 downloads by the end of the year. We're super close. So please let your friends know about us. All they literally have to do, wherever they listen to the podcast, just type in www.pap, www.pap. It's super easy. Our YouTube channel can be found that way. The Jericho Cruise vlog went live at 6 o'clock today, so that's up there for you to watch. You get to see Mongo do a belly flop in the pool and sing awful karaoke. Spoiler in there. So there's some cool match content that we filmed. But I'm excited. I'm glad to see us growing. This is great. We had our live episode of Comentos, our 2-year anniversary. We have some other ideas, hopefully down the road, to throw out to you guys, potentially maybe trivia, hint, hint. So I think it's fun. This has been a great ride. I'm glad we're going back to TNA for 2005 to finish it out, because you have Samoa Joe and AJ Styles that's going to be headlining it with Jeff Jarrett and Rhino, so it's going to be a decent pay-per-view. They haven't disappointed us, and you guys have really taken well to it, because TNA consistently every month is in our top 5 episodes for the month. Every single month, and then for the whole year, we had 2 TNA episodes in our top 10. So you guys obviously like listen to them. We enjoy going back to them. So thank you again. Make sure you're following us at WWP Podcast on all our socials too. Post some funny memes, damn it. Like, we post funny memes. Post them back with us. We'll share them if we laugh. I mean, half the time I share a meme to try to pop Roland or Tim. So, yeah.
In my head, I was having trouble with the math saying that the TNA episode was in the top 5. Like, I thought you meant like per month. I'm like, some months only have 4 episodes. How the fuck? So I'm glad you elaborated more, because in my head I was like, my head hurts.
Well, I think some of them,
because
they have like 5 weeks. So the way they do the analytics, that's weird. It'll do like December 11th to January 11th, but it's really like December 1st. I'm just going by the analytics they give us.
But no, I mean, AEW, NXT, and TNA are usually our popular episodes. There's no denying that. If you look at the analytics, no matter which way you look at them, you guys seem to enjoy them. And yeah, like Mongo said, the TNA episodes have not let down. They have not been. There's not been anything that's let us down through TNA. for a whole show yet. We've had a few spots here and there, but I would say that the TNA 05 run is probably the best thing that we've covered. And I think because it is long, I think that we've covered it for, 10 months now or whatever it ends up being. So I think that helps too, because you can remember what happened last month. So that makes it fun too. So
I think we should keep doing it. Put you on the spot now. What do you guys think? I think maybe do the 06 run if it lines up, because it only gets better from what I remember, because you already had Christian Cage, Kurt Angle's going to be coming in. So you guys seem to enjoy it. So I think we'll stick to the TNA format if you guys are cool too, because I think it's been fun. And why not do one TNA episode a month?
And I think it gives a variety too, because like I said, the last thing we want to do is be known as the WWE podcast. Like that's not what we are. And that's not who we even remotely want to be. So TNA's first pay-per-view of the new year of 2006 was January 15th. Does that line up, Mongo? It should. I think it does. I just want to double check before we. Is January 15th Saturday?
Let's take a look.
Calendar on me, I'm terrible. if my bosses are listening, I do have a calendar on my work side.
All right, January. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, it is a Saturday.
It is a Saturday.
So yeah, we'll just keep right on going. I think that's a great idea.
And so you guys get to hear this behind the scene brainstorming around our episode.
Yeah, right.
So
and I will spoil that the main event for the January 15th Final Resolution show is Sting and Christian Cage against Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown. So
fucking
and Roland, what's Monty Brown's finisher move?
The pounce.
Hey, played on a Super Bowl team. Practice squad.
He played on two Super Bowl teams, too.
I don't even think they were winning teams.
No, they both lost. Just like
two Super Bowl teams. Two Super Bowl teams practice squads.
It's like what Becky Lynch just tweeted out this week. You guys see this shit this morning? It's the stupidest cherry pick stat I've ever seen. This will be my last little high horse I know. She tweeted out that, I'm one of the longest reigning. If you take away my maternity leave, I had 500 days for the title. I'm like, that's not how that works. You can't say like, I know I was gone for 2 years. And again, don't get me wrong. She deserved maternity leave. I'm glad she, got to take time off, baby. But you can't be like, even though I wasn't wrestling, I'm still counting like the times that I was. Like, that'd be like Tom Brady saying, I know I blew my knee out 08, but we're just going to delete the year 08. We're just going to say that I never missed the playoff. Like, that'd be literally like saying I never missed the playoffs. I'm just going to delete 08 and 02.
Matt Castle would beg to differ.
Right. I just the cherry picking of that stats. Like, I get you're trying to show that she's Becky big time or big time Becky, what the hell she's calling herself now.
Big time Becky. Get it right.
I don't want to get it right. It's a terrible persona. It's a terrible idea for bad creative, to quote Chris Jericho.
She is now her and Seth share a wardrobe. If anybody's noticed, they wear like the same outfits, and I'm pretty sure they're identical. So
I think they're just trying to pop each other. They're trying to see who could be the most ridiculous. I mean, Roland and I talked off air about Survivor Series this year, where she was wearing these weird like fin things on her feet, like Scarlet Witchy type of gear, and it's like, I guarantee you she was a back. Yeah, Seth, you think your shit is fucking loud and outrageous? Check out this outfit I'm going to wear out to the ring.
And I'm going to show everyone my butt cheeks for fucking 20 minutes, which is pretty much what she did. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that, like, usually she's not the one to do that. So it was definitely an interesting outfit because she's usually not flaunting her sexuality, put it that way.
Man.
Not on purpose. So
I'm just waiting for one of them to come up, like, Karate Kid Halloween style, just a fucking full-on shower curtain circled around them, and they just open the shower curtain and be like, sup, everybody?
I will say it was cool. Was it last week or the week before when Seth was talking to the person, and he's like, go on the bus, put it on the bus, don't wake the baby. that was, breaking the fourth wall. I thought that was pretty cool. But
all right, that wrap everything up for today?
I also want to say that I thought it was interesting for those of you who have watched Dynamite before now to see Arn Anderson fall in a fucking hole and then have Jose help pull him out to then
beat the shit out of him.
you zoom in, you see him fall and you see Jose like throw these fake punches, and then you see Arn reach up and Jose pulls him out of the hole, and then they fight each other to the back. It's like,
I felt so bad. He was like backpedaling and he missed the ramp between the ramp and the thing. He just ate shit. It's like
he looked like a fucking turtle. Like he had fallen on his shell and he was like just flailing.
Instead of spilling someone's brains out with a Glock, he almost spilled his own brains out by falling down.
Yeah, I will say this, that he has had the most memorable. I mean, he had that ring, the spot on the ring apron a couple months ago. He's I get that he's getting up there in age and he has that nerve condition with his arm and his shoulder and everything, but like sooner or later he's gonna fucking hurt himself. Like we need to like tone it back.
Be careful. Yeah. You're a legend. You don't need to take bumps anymore. Like your bump card has been maxed out, and then like they hole punched it again.
Well,
Stop.
It's comical too because he mentions like in interviews and stuff before he started doing the podcast that he only has so many of those spine busters in him, and he doesn't mind doing them. But he's done like 5 in the last year. Like he's like, I don't mind busting it out for a special appearance. It's like, dude, you've done like 5 in the calendar year. Like, what do you mean special? Like. So obviously it's, Cody Rhodes talking him up. Cody's like, oh, you can do it. It's going to be great. The fans will love it. It'll be great. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes is having his fucking weight belt thrown back in the ring by the fans.
Hit Aubrey at one point.
I
also,
think
did he put Elmer's glue on his back or something?
No, that was the fire retardant stuff. Think.
No, I was being funny.
Taz mentioned that, and all Taz did was give it away. That's all Taz did because as soon as they did the table spot, I was like, oh, that's what that was. That was the flame retardant shit on his back. That's what that was. Good job, Taz. You just literally brought like focus to something that now in your head you're like, oh, I know what that was. That wasn't shit from that trash can. That was the flame retardant shit. So his back didn't catch fire. I get it.
Just like when we covered our previous Bad Blood episode, and Roland alluded to earlier with It's Gotta Be Kane, yet another announcer that pissed Roland off because he gave away the spot 20 minutes before the spot happened.
Well, and like I said, he didn't give it away right away, but as soon as I saw that table go up, I go, that's what's on his back. Like I mean, as soon as Brandy lit that table on fire, I'm like, that's what was on his fucking back. Thanks, Taz. Thanks
for cool spot though, thankfully.
It looked like Andrade caught his chest on fire.
He did. So, and Cody his back was on fire too. So, Tim, if you haven't watched it, you got to go watch a clip on YouTube. It was a pretty cool spot. But they go through the table. Andrade's like trying to beat his chest while he's getting pinned because he's on fire. While he's getting
pinned, yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to like put Cody's back out.
Get his eyes closed. He's getting pinned. He's got a leg up and he's slapping his own chest. He's like Sting.
Right.
Speaking of that, it was cool to see Sting in the ring. I think they've utilized him correctly too. I know we've kind of gone on a little bit of a tangent, but like I think they've utilized him correctly too, where they've been able to use him. They don't use him too much. He's able to do certain things nostalgia wise, and it works out good. Again, I don't think it had to be against fucking Billy Gunn, but I will say that it's cool to see these guys. And I'm not going to say that it's not cool to see Arn doing things, but like let's pump the brakes on some of this stuff, Arn, because sooner or later, like all it takes is Arn to do that and like break his fucking ankle or something, and it's like great. Yeah. He just stepped off the stage, broke an ankle, and now he's gone.
I know that was my first thought when he fell down. Like I was more like I didn't care about the match. I just want to make sure Arn wasn't like knocked out because that fall would hurt an old person. I can't imagine. Like, but then like you said, he's reaching.
He's like. It's funny to laugh now because we know he was okay, but like at the time you see it and he just falls square on his back in that hole, and he's literally like just flailing his arms around, and it's like. And then you see, like I said, you see Jose like feign these punches, and then all of a sudden he like reaches in and pulls them out. So,
yes, quite interesting. So yeah, if you guys haven't watched Dynamite, at least watch Rampage in the clips because you got to at least see a spot. It was a good spot, like Ron said. It was just there was just kind of the execution was very clunky. That's the best way to describe it.
Plus, just Rampage spoiler, you get to see Steve the Pirate. He's on Rampage tonight.
All right, so thanks for listening. I know we went a little bit long, Linda. I'm sorry.
Sorry. We had to make it at least an episode. Come on, it's still under an hour. Come on.
But yeah, so TNA for you guys next week, and then Armageddon 2002 the week after. Thank you for joining us today. Everybody stay safe. Have a great week. Until next week, I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And this is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
There was 4 fucking disqualifications.
I hope you're all having a nice day.